One of the things about stories, it says, this has happened before. In stories, they have the old idea, nothing new under the sun. So it may appear with a different guise, but it doesn't appear brand new. That the things, the ongoing troubles in the world and the ongoing ways to solve the troubles in the world keep repeating. And stories hold kind of the wisdom of that. And so I'm always looking for stories to explain what we're experiencing. That's my interest. How does myth work in the modern world? And so right now, the big thing going on in this culture where we live is obviously the recent election, the new administration, and the chaos coming out of it. I mean, I say chaos because they say chaos. And then I try to say, I send memos saying, if you play with chaos, it plays you. You cannot use chaos very long before it plays on you. But anyway, looking for stories. And it's interesting to me to see how the emperor without clothes is being referenced a lot, and that's a good thing. But there are other stories about people who rise to power that might come closer to the mark. And so I happened to open a book of world stories the other day, or last week really, and I opened to a story from Eastern Europe called the Czar Trojan Goat Ears. The Czar is a Russian word for kind of like king or ruler. Trojan is a mistranslation of Trajan, which is actually the East European Midas, King Midas. And the story goes like this. By the way, it's translated from the Russian. Just interesting detail. It's what happens these days. So what happens is there's this little kingdom, and they have a king called Czar Trojan. And it turns out that he has the ears of a goat, but no one knows because he has a hairdo that covers it. Swear to God. Like a back comb. And so no one knows. He has this secret, and no one knows it. He knows it, and he's trying to really keep it secret. That's the problem with a person like that, is they have to work really hard to keep the secret. And then every once in a while he needs a haircut. And so the barber comes in, cuts the hair, and the king says, "Did you see anything strange?" And the barber says, "Well, there is the kind of goat ear thing." Off with his head. So they have to get another barber next time. So pretty much they're running out of barbers after a while. And this one master barber is invited to come and do the haircut, and he sends a message saying, "I'm sick, but I'm sending my apprentice. It has an apprentice in it. This story." I'm not even kidding. It's in a book from hundreds of years ago. So nothing new under the sun. So the apprentice goes and does the haircut, and the king said, "Anything unusual?" And he goes, "No, all normal." The king says, "Okay, you're now going to have a royal position. You'll be in the royal court." And of course, the deal is he can't reveal the secret that he knows in order to stay in the royal court, Sean Spicer. Nothing new under the sun. And so things go on, and everything's pretty cool, except the young apprentice keeps having a problem. He has a secret he's carrying that no one else knows, and he thinks it's really important. And finally he goes back to his master and says, "I have a secret. What do I do?" And he says, "Well, you could tell me, or you could go tell the pastor, or you could dig a hole in the ground and yell it 3 times into the ground." So this is a long time ago. So the apprentice goes, "I'll go with the door number 3. Digs a hole in the ground, yells into it, "The Czar Trojan has goat ears," 3 times, covers up the hole and goes back, to the palace. Very quickly from that spot where he said those words, an elder tree sprouts up, and it grows branches, and the branches are particularly straight and true. And shepherds, seeing those branches, immediately start cutting them to make flutes, because that's what they used to do. And as soon as they make the flutes and they go to play them, the flutes will only play one thing. The Czar Trojan has goat ears. So pretty soon, all over the place, the word is out that the Czar Trojan has goat ears, and pretty soon everybody understands what's going on, that there's a secret right in the center of the culture, right in the center of power, and now the secret is out. And then, of course, the Czar intends to cut off the head of the apprentice, but it's too late because everybody knows. And the whole culture has to go through a change. So that's an old story from Eastern Europe, including from Russia, about what happens when someone in the office, highest office, has a secret. And I'm sure everybody has already figured out that the secret, in the sense of Donald Trump, is his extreme narcissism, right? And you can study that. So one reason I'm telling you, this isn't strictly political, it's actually mythological and it's psychological. In other words, when something is wrong and a big mistake has been made, people need psychological awareness and the courage to say, this is a mistake. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to go past the politics of it because they will take a long time to admit the mistake. And it's not simply politics. It's someone has been put in power that is not able to serve others because the narcissistic bubble has never broken. Am I making sense? A person with that level of narcissism can only serve themselves no matter what happens. That's what's going to happen. It's already occurring. And so it's a matter of time, I think, before everybody knows it. I don't know. I'm hoping the story is right. And maybe we can all go make flutes. I don't know. But I think that's likely to happen there. But also the point of the story is that a psychological understanding of what's happening in the world is very important. And when you see, when it looks like a secret is being covered up, it is. And I assume everybody knows what happens with everybody has narcissism. Did you get that memo? Just most of us have a little bit, or some, and then we have a narcissistic bubble that gets broken. We have such a difficult time with something, or we lose a loved one, or we get sick, or we get our ass kicked, or whatever it is, and the bubble bursts, and we realize we're not that special, and we realize that there are forces bigger than us, and we realize there's people hurting more than we are. You get what I'm saying? That's the breaking of the bubble. And then some people, perhaps if they're wealthy, it lasts longer. Or if they've been supported a certain way, they don't have their bubble burst. And we have someone now at the peak of power, considered to be the most powerful person in the world. Oh, by the way, narcissists want to be the most powerful person in the world. Not only that, the word Donald means ruler of all. Yeah, I mean, this is like a cursed person who has the narcissism in a narcissistic name. So anyway, that's a psychological view of it. Just to cut through it and not get caught in the politics and think this is about left and right, conservative and liberal. This is a mistake. And so it's a challenge whether a culture can wake up and acknowledge its own mistakes. That's the challenge, I think. And how quickly can it happen?